Hi, so we have a problem here that asks us to find the difference quotient for the following problem. Now remember, the difference quotient formula is what I have here on the left hand side. It's the f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. And the function that we're given in this particular problem is f of x is equal to 1 over 3x. Now if you remember from being introduced to the difference quotient formula, we're given the f of x, okay, we're given that part of the formula. H is always going to be h. We just need to go out and find what the f of x plus h is. Okay, we need to figure out that missing piece of the formula. So in order for us to do that, we actually use our f of x formula. So f of x equals 1 over 3x. That's what we were given. Now what we do here, in place of every x that we see, we're going to input a x plus h in place of it. So instead of f of x, now we have f of x plus h. So now for every x, we have an x plus h. So here, this would be 1 over 3 times x plus h. All right. Now, the easiest thing to do, and this is what I tell students all the time, when you're dealing with something like this, you don't want to multiply in. The reason being, you're going to be dealing with fractions. And fractions, you don't want to simplify your denominators yet. You want to wait until the very end to do that. So right now, we're going to leave it as 1 over 3x for your original function and 1 over 3 times x plus h for your other function, for your f of x plus h. Now, we finally have the f of x plus h part. So now what we have to do, we have to go in and plug in the f of x and the f of x plus h into the difference quotient formula. So now what that would look like, 1 over 3 times x plus h minus 1 over 3x. Okay, remember, this is our f of x plus h that we just found, minus, that was our original f of x, and then all over h. All right. Now here's the fun part. The fun part is going to be when we have to combine these two fractions. All right, that's always interesting. Going back to possibly a foundations course or anything along those lines, the least common denominator between these two guys is the product of those denominators. In other words, the least common denominator is 3 times x plus h times 3x. All right. Now here's the thing. Here's the trick. The LCD that you're going to be working with, we see that 3 shows up twice. So we can eliminate one of those 3's. So therefore, the LCD that you're going to be working with is 3 times x plus h. All right. That's what we're going to be using. So now we can rewrite the top parts of our fraction here, the 1 over 3x plus h and the 1 over 3x. We can rewrite that with a denominator of 3x times x plus h. All right, let's go ahead and figure this one out because this is going to be a tricky one. So that's going to be something over 3x, x plus h, minus something over 3x plus h. All right. Now, here's the interesting part. It's actually a pretty cool trick. Not going to lie. You look at the denominator that you were originally given. You look at the denominator that you have to have it written as. What's the difference between those two denominators? Well, they each have a 3, Okay, that's cool. They each have an x plus h. Alright, that's cool. What's different? Our new denominator has an x. So what the difference is, that's going to be multiplied by the 1. So that would be x times 1, which would be x. So that's what would go up in our new numerator. Alright, let's double check this. Let's actually make sure that this actually works out. Because let's actually simplify this. Well, I have down here an x over 3x times x plus h. If I cancel out these x's right here, well, what do I have left? I have a 1 over 3 times x plus h, which is what I originally started with in my blue function, or my blue fraction up at the top. So that shows me that I did the least common denominator correctly. Okay, I'm just rewriting this real quick. X over 3 times x plus h. Alright. Now we're going to do the same exact process, but with the 1 over 3x and the 3x times x plus h on the bottom. Alright. So, same exact concept. I have a 3 and I have an x, okay, for both of my denominators. The only thing I'm missing is an x plus h. So what I'm missing gets multiplied by the numerator. So that would be x plus h times 1, or just x plus h. Alrighty. Now, we are going to deal with this h down here at the bottom, so we haven't forgot about that. So now, let's start simplifying. We can start multiplying our stuff out. So, on the top, since these guys are the same denominator, alright, what I can do, I can just go ahead and subtract. So that would be x minus, parentheses, x plus h, all over 3x times x plus h on the bottom. Okay, since they have the same denominators, you could add and subtract the numerators and keep the same denominator on the bottom. So now, on the top, I would have an x minus h all over. If you wanted to multiply this out on the bottom, you are more than welcome to. 3x squared plus 3xh. It makes it look a little neater. Alright. Apologize, I had to add an extra page. On the top, x minus x, that goes away. So I'm left with a negative h over 3x squared plus 3xh. Alright. But, going back to the original problem, or going back to the top, what we just did, we just added and subtracted these two fractions. But remember, we still have this h on the bottom. So technically, this would be a negative h over 3x squared plus 3xh all over h. Okay, we have a fraction over a fraction. Now, if you remember how to divide fractions, keep, change, flip, or you can simply negative h over 3x squared plus 3xh multiplied by the reciprocal. So this is technically an h over 1. So that would be multiplied by a 1 over h. Well, the cool thing about this is that your h's cancel out. And all you're left with now is a negative 1 over 3x squared plus 3xh. And that right there would be your difference quotient for 1 over 3x. So that would be your final answer.